It's time for the men's final here for the MEO Pro Portugal, presented by Rip Curl. Just crowned Tatiana Weston-Webb the champ. Filipe was inspired by that. He wants to make it a Brazilian sweep coming into the men's final, just like the women's. California versus Brazil. As we know, Filipe has moved from Ubatuba, Sao Paulo, Brazil, to San Clemente, California. And Filipe and Griffin have a lot of respect for each other as they enter their first one-on-one heat of their career on the championship tour, and it happens to be the final with everything on the line. Joe Turpel with Kaipo Guerrero for the call. This is as good as it gets. Two young surfers on tour, famous for a high-performance act. Game on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this final is going to be about. High-performance, progressive surfing. But to get here, the road to this final, both of these surfers had to go through a variety of different conditions, from on a little bit of ruffled to epic barrels to right now where the game's going to be high-performance surfing. We already saw Griffin Colapinto and his ability to really get big numbers off of one major dynamic maneuver.
A 10-point ride for Griffin Colapinto yesterday against one of his best friends and mentors in Kolohe Andino. Before that heat, he got a chance to battle with the GOAT, Kelly Slater, as well, in pumping conditions. Also getting fired up this morning on finals day and got past John Florence. Talk about a road to the final for the kid from San Clemente. His first chance to win an event, now in his third season on tour. And there's a comparable there for Filipe. It was his third season when he started winning back in 2015.
Yeah, and you know, back in 2015 when Filipe Toledo started winning events, you really thought, hey, world title. Yeah, I mean, this guy's due a world title, and he still has not had that. And all the accolades that Filipe Toledo has accomplished, that world title still eludes him. But I'm going to tell you something, Joe. A victory here will be a really, really fast track on the path to the Rip Curl WSL Finals.
No waves ridden yet, but we know there's already been a lot of action in the Red Bull Athlete Zone. Paul, what have you noticed so far?
Yeah, thanks, Joey. Absolutely. Big buzz up here. Big support for Tatiana Weston-Webb. Obviously a strong Brazilian contingent as ever up here. Big energy for her during that final. I was just checking out Filipe Toledo's preparation before he paddled out with this one and noticing his attention that he pays to wax. So a lot of waxing going on all the way up the board. The tops of the feet as well, they're getting waxed. And also waxing his chest to make the jersey stick. By contrast, where he doesn't want the wax is on the underside of his board, and he's rubbing that off with the rough side of a towel, just buffing things up. It's those minute details and that little preparation that can count big time. We've seen some traction issues this morning, and Filipe looking like to control those variables.
Thank you so much, Paul Evans. As Filipe is so interesting before big heats and finals, oftentimes he's on the couch hanging out with his friends, headphones aren't on. He kind of engages in this social atmosphere where some remove themselves from their friends. They don't even give you a hi or hello. They put headphones on and stay with their coach. Filipe enjoys the social aspect to make this feel a little more normal, paddling out for a big final.
It was really interesting, though. I was in the Red Bull Athlete Zone as well, and he took a moment with part of his crew, and there was a one-on-one prayer that these two, that him and his guy put together, and they spent time, and it was a good minute prayer in preparing, but also opening up their faith. And you know, everyone attacks this in a different way. Filipe Toledo, a strong man of faith, and it's evident in his number 7-7. You know, that's the double blessing number right there. And so I thought it was really interesting how he centered himself with that prayer.
Total focus. As we see Griffin, as he was preparing for big heats, he often is doing calisthenics, stretching a bit, keeping his body nice and warm, and he has been on such a high from some huge airs that he's landed in this contest and even outside of the heat. Oftentimes we see him at events getting the best clip of the morning before we go on, and then sometimes he struggles to repeat that same success when the jersey's on. Totally different story this week at Super Tubos. He's been switched on in the free surfs and in the main event.
Well, Griffin Colapinto starting to use some Zen, and we've seen him meditate before big heats like this. Here he is.
Now trying to start things off quick against Filipe Toledo. He throws down the nose pick reverse, and it looks like the air show has just begun.
Yeah, and that was Griffin Colapinto. Again, he's so hot and quick to the accelerator in these small conditions, able to generate that speed right off the bat, and that is, when you talk about a manufactured score, that is manufacturing, pressing out a good score. Here it is on the replay. You can see really quick on the gas, and then has to huck it, pokes the nose, spins it around for that nose pick reverse. Very impressive.
It's something that you can see him do at T Street in San Clemente all the time. One more look from the sky.
There you go. Again, poking the nose, moving the foot way up there, forcing it around, and in slow motion, you're really going to get a good look at this technique where you kind of has to huck it on the final 6 inches of that board, pokes the nose underwater, fins free, and then engages the fin for the revert and the completion for Griffin Colapinto.
Last year, Colapinto won the U.S. Open on the south side of Huntington Pier. This man's won that a couple times. Toledo in motion, a lot of speed, goes to a backhand snap to start. Cracks another backside turn. He's incomplete on the second effort, just good for the first backside snap. And that'll be compared to Griffin's error to set the opening exchange.
Interesting decision by Filipe Toledo not to answer kind of air for air or so, and just keeping the board on the water. But I like the decision for Toledo. Wants to lock in a good score and doesn't want to force anything, so he's going to rely on some razor sharp turns here on this sharp eye dark arts quad that he's been riding. The board's looking really quick, looking really lively, and he's just looking electric on it. So we're waiting for both scores to set this scenario.
We've been enjoying the approach from Toledo with the quad, you know, in the last couple of seasons specifically, getting so much speed on that model. As we wait for numbers, let's catch up with the runner-up at this event, Lakey Petersons with Strider.
Thank you very much, Joe. Yeah, Lakey, you know, you find yourself tied for second with Carissa Moore, very close to that leader's jersey. Coming from behind must make you hungry for a big win and try and take this thing out.
Yeah, it does. It's like, oh, getting second just then. It's so almost harder when you get close to it. You're like right there and just miss out on the win. Bummed, but it was a great heat with Tati. I'm stoked, like you said, on where I am in the overall rankings, especially heading into Australia, and Bells is pretty much my home now, second home. So yeah, it's a great start. Bummed to not get the win, but it was an awesome heat. Congrats to Tatiana. She's really deserving champion. It was really great to have a heat with her. She's been ripping all week.
And just your experience in the final, where did it go wrong for you? Can you figure out a place in there where you could have done better, or was it just a flow thing?
Yeah, I think I could have had a slightly better start. I mean, she got the best first score, but I came back quickly with a couple sevens. And then the only other thing is the judges really were emphasizing like a big closeout finish, and obviously that's where Tatiana got her 8. And I don't know if it was me, I just couldn't find a wave that would let me do 2 turns and the second one being that big closeout. It seems like the judges really wanted that instead of 2 open face turns. So, you know, it is the ocean at the end of the day. I felt pretty happy with how I actually surfed the heat, and I felt really happy with my actual surfing. It's just, you know, also I gave her 8-point wave. I took the wave before, but the wave before was a good one. So, you know, I'm not God. I can't, you never know. And yeah, you got to take the opportunity away from her when it looks like a good wave. So I'm happy with my performance. You know, it's great takeaways, but definitely really hungry for more.
I love it. We can't wait to see you in Australia. Congratulations on a great finish.
So, thank you guys. Thanks Portugal, everyone here. It's been amazing. The sport's unreal. Awesome.
Well done for Lakey Peterson, and a great breakdown to that final with Tatiana Weston-Webb. She identified just the big closeout section that the judges were really loving. We saw Tatiana take advantage of that, and with 10,000 points, Tati will be inside the final 5 heading into Bells Beach. And Tati has finaled there before, runner-up to Stephanie Gilmore back in 2018. She won Margaret River last year, so an exciting time of the year for Tatiana Weston-Webb.
A lot of opportunity, right, for Tati. Here we go.
Inside left for Toledo. Quick whip through the pocket. He'll get stuffed on the second turn. His opening wave, a 2.83. The nose pick reverse for Colapinto, a 4.67.
So it looks like the progression was paid off in that opening exchange between Griffin Colapinto and Filipe Toledo, Joe. So to me, that's really a signal to the surfers of what the judges are really looking for. So they're out here, they want to see the envelope being pushed progression-wise.
Last score for Toledo will give him the lead, 3.3 on this maneuver.
Yeah, I mean, nice snap here. and gets really quick on his heels to get back up there again, but you can see late the board and gets caught up in the lip. He gets the lip right in the calves and goes down.
Colapinto's 10-point ride, he said he felt like he earned a trophy yesterday afternoon. He said also to do it in front of the fans in Peniche, it was incredible. He called the fans here some of the best on tour, and the way they erupted and elevated that moment, it's a 10-point ride that he'll never forget.
It was great in that heat where he got the 10-point ride. There was 2 minutes on the clock. He took the wave actually in. He was so excited that I think he didn't realize that there was still some heat going on. He wanted to just get to the beach because the crowd erupted so loudly. And then once he was on the beach and he was able to relish that moment, he realized, well, gosh, there's still 90 seconds on the clock. I might want to get back out there.
And I think there's that wave of emotion as a young surfer that is just realizing his dream, getting a 10 against his best friend. And I think when he came in, he's like, wait, I want to show respect to Kolohe and get back out there and shake his hand. Backhand snap with a fan of spray to the sky. Third move quickly down the beach for Toledo.
Now that was more like it. The tempo and the pace was matched on that wave by Filipe Toledo. So just nailing it flawlessly in between turns. Here we go.
Glassy left for the Californian. Colapinto nails the first turn. Super smooth until he falls on the second effort.
Yep, score that an error for Griffin Colapinto on the finish of that wave. So an opportunity for Toledo to increase his distance from Griffin Colapinto in the scoring.
Griffin goes through some falls at times as he finds his feet in a lot of big matchups. You wonder how many mistakes can he afford against one of the best closers in the game. Filipe Toledo makes finals and typically wins them once he gets this far in an event. When you focus on ocean events, he's won 9 in the ocean on the CT level. He's only lost 1 final, and that was at Bells to John Florence. Let's see what happened here.
Colapinto winds up off the bottom, and I like the hooking turn there, but right here you're going to see pokes the nose as that sandbar gets very, very shallow. Dragging the hand to pivot off of, and a nice opening turn for Griffin, but this is where things went awry, and just pokes the nose as the water runs out on the sandbar and goes down. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have Filipe Toledo with the timing and the tempo just flawless between 3 turns, and he's got a score on this one. You can see it again in slow motion, and that first turn very dynamic, some fins free off the back, a little poke vertical there, and then really quick feet to get 2 right at the end.
One of the quickest surfers in the world, backhand or forehand, and that's what makes Toledo so dangerous. He doesn't need a set wave at times. They have to reward him for how quick he can move from start to finish, even on a 1-footer. 6.67, a big score for a small wave. Then you see the opportunity that Griffin had. He had a bigger open face, but falling on the second turn, that score will stop it at 3.83.
Going to be interesting to see now the strategy for Filipe Toledo. He's been sticking to the lefts so far, been sticking to rail surfing, really quick, dynamic rail surfing on the backhand. Now that he has, I wouldn't say a comfortable lead, but a lead over Griffin Colapinto, we'll see if he changes his approach and maybe some airs from Filipe Toledo.
Griffin's trying to accomplish a win for California. It's been a long time, 2009. Bobby Martinez won in Tahiti. We haven't had a Californian win a CT event since on the men's side. So Griffin's trying to bring that back. Bobby obviously won a lot of events in his career. A Rookie of the Year representing Santa Barbara. Still rips today. But I'm sure Colapinto would like to bring that back, as he's already made some records in his young career. First Californian to win the Triple Crown on the North Shore of Oahu. But this is a big moment that he's been waiting for. Kaipo, if he calls the US Open win the biggest of his career, what would it mean for him now to win at the championship tour stage?
Well, this would eclipse that, right? Because this is the championship tour. This is the best of the best. But in looking back to that US Open win, Griffin Colapinto, in an earlier interview, was saying that he's riding a board, a replica of that board that he surfed to victory over there at HB.
17:40 on the clock. Let's get a tide update here for the final with Strider.
All right, standing out here on the sandbar. You know, it's interesting, the surfers were warming up right here. This is basically where they were paddling into waves and then riding into the shoreline. And now we're all the way back out. They've moved all the way onto the outer bank. So there's different sandbars here. There's a lot of tide movement here in Europe, as we've seen over the past few days. Today, the tide's still going out, so it's going to make the waves a little harder, but it's going to offer up more of a ramp section on that inside where it just goes completely square, almost on a dry sand. So, you know, these waves coming in now, they're stretching out, they're trying to find open face. The key to today is going to be wave selection and getting that open face, something that offers up enough time for you to get a hit in. But for Griffin, I feel like he's been getting huge scores with one big air. So I guess, well, there'd be no game plan. Find a wave, blow up, show up, and that's what he's after.
Good man, Strider. Thanks for the report. Toledo in motion on the left. Clean bottom turn, fin throw reverse. Right into a backhand snap for an exciting combination of turns.
How was the quickness on that? How was the pace that Filipe Toledo is able to achieve while he's surfing? It looks like a whole nother gear compared to normal mortal surfing.
As he's looking for his second win here in Peniche, the only surfers with a couple of event wins out here, more than one. Mick Fanning, he's won this twice. Italo Ferreira obviously was trying to go for 3 in a row. Toledo changed that whole thing around. So Filipe trying to join that class here at Super Tubos. As Griffin's trying to go for his first win. We've seen that happen a couple times already this season. Here comes Toledo, loving this running left, backhand float. He's down, nothing changing into his top 2. That's what's made this year so exciting, Kaipo. We saw Baron Mamiya win his first event as a wild card. Brisa Hennessy winning Sunset, her first major win in her first final. In fact, she still hangs on to yellow, heading into bells.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of firsts this year. We saw Moana Jones-Wong coming from a wild card and taking out a championship tour win. That's made an exciting start to this season and a very unpredictable start to this season. But now at stop number 3, kind of the cast of characters that you would expect to be here on finals day have presented themselves.
15 minutes to go in the final here at the MEO Pro Portugal, presented by Rip Curl. Filipe Toledo out in front with a 6.6. Coming up next on tour will be the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach, a place where Filipe has finaled in the past. He's up and riding on a left. 2 speedy backhand whips to put up another healthy combo on a 1-foot insider. The fastest man alive when it comes to riding a wave. Front side, back side, he makes it so exciting. And that quad is looking lethal in these conditions we have here on Monday morning. Looking to better a 5.23 with this wave, Kipes.
Let's see what he's got. Gosh, just getting the tail up and out over the back. And again, stabbing the lip. Looking really, really sharp on the backhand. You can see the strategy from Filipe Toledo has been to utilize these fast running lefts and not taking too much of a chance of getting some scores by keeping the board on the water and just, you know, displaying the actual speed that he has in his overall approach.
So quick in transition. The first turn was a fin throw. That was out the back. Lands it so quick and shut it down with a solid vertical closeout hack. 5.5 increases just a touch, so Griffin needs a 7.5 here. Hard off the bottom. Big vertical for Griff. Drives into another big vertical hack. Spray is still falling as he'll carve this inside corner, cleans it up well, and there's the celebration for Colapinto, his best ride so far.
Oh my, the answer back end. Griffin Colapinto is just gonna reel in Filipe Toledo right now after that wave. 23
years of age in his first championship tour final. Needed a big answer, and he just got it.
On the replay, look at this, a bigger wave, solid bottom turn, smashing the lip off the top, vertical for some variety, and here's where things get tricky, but you know what? Griffin Colapinto shows some light feet and just floats through that difficult section on the inside. Why not celebrate? Because this was a wave well surfed. Again, fins out the back, spray everywhere from Colapinto, vertical, lunchtime, ringing the bell, 12 o'clock on that turn number 2, and just able to close out on his feet with a lot of energy. Griffin Colapinto that 7.5 requirement, Joe, seems within reach.
Really impressed. All the fans here getting the vision that they'll be posting and probably tagging WSL on Instagram. Winding up off the bottom, throw tail, stalls. Almost thought he was gonna pull it back around forward. Toledo ends up letting go of a major move. Filipe understands the game so well. He knows that Griffin got a much bigger wave than what he's been utilizing. So it's go time for Toledo.
Here we go. Throws it. Now he's riding fakie for a while, just riding on the nose, wants to spin it back around, unable to, so he has to just throw that maneuver away.
Filipe is so explosive, does some of the most radical moves, and he has a crazy throw tail he does in the flats. There's one guy on tour that I feel comes close to the same style, and it actually is Griffin Colapinto with that big front side throw tail. They'll get about 10 feet out in front of the wave and stomp it. Might have to rely on one of those. The remaining 10 minutes. Scores in for Griff on the left, a 7-6-7, and his first lead change here in the final. And Toledo's on the hunt. Glassy left-hander going straight up. Hammers the first. Second, vertical, solid and complete. Late to the end section. Still has his board. Meanwhile, Griffin on another set. Drills the first lip line. Hammers the second again. His backhand is looking great. A healthy looking two-turn combo. And things are getting exciting here in the men's final.
Again, in that exchange, advantage to Colapinto, and the momentum I feel it in the air, Joe, has switched over to the Californian. Let's take a look at this again. Good size wave, hits it right in the pocket, and again, just ultra quick on the backhand, skips over this section before kicking out. He's going to improve his scoreline. Filipe Toledo winding up, and we've seen this act before, so quick in and out of the turns, but just has to force that final maneuver. I think both surfers perhaps will be improving upon their scoreline, but this is a study in surfing mechanics when you look at Filipe Toledo on the backhand in slow motion.
Yeah, pretty meaty sections. They're very hollow. He's pretty late to that stab climb. As you can see, fans holding their breath. Filipe Toledo is basically like a local that they have adopted from Brazil. He can speak the language. He enjoys his time at Super Tubos. 8 minutes to go, still waiting on scores.
I love that the fans are so engaged here in Portugal and really feeling for their favorite surfers.
Well, Strider, it seems like a lot of the fans are holding their breath. Can you tell who they're going for in this final?
You know, they're excited for it all. Where I'm positioned down here on the sandbar, you're so close to the surfing, you'd be excited to see anybody taking waves. And you know what? We're probably about 50 yards away from the surfers as they take off on the waves. And from this vantage point, with the lower tide pulling out, you can really see how cupped out it is. When you get down here at the surfer's level, so to speak, you can really feel and see the intensity of the waves as they arise on the sandbar. And everybody down here along the road down here, they get a better vantage point right up along the shoreline. Literally the water coming right up to our feet. Did get the shoes wet. It's okay. We love it. We're down here taking the action in right on the shoreline, and this is a great vantage point to really see the intensity of those maneuvers. Filipe looking really fast and furious, but we've seen Colapinto on bigger, better waves, and that two-turn combo on that last one looked beautiful from right here.
Good man was. Wow, only 7 minutes left in the event. As you see the two surfers sitting side by side in what looks like a very quiet lineup, but it's been fireworks ever since it started. 8 waves ridden for Toledo and just 3 for Griffin. Kind of reminds me of Griffin's coach, Tommy Whitaker. He was famous for just maybe getting 2 waves in a heat to move on. He spent about a decade on the championship tour. And I almost think maybe they talked about Griffin getting bigger waves, not trying to outcompete Filipe on one-footers on the inside. I think it's a common strategy, knowing that Filipe is the best small wave surfer in the world. You need a little bit more wave height to work to your advantage. Griffin's looking incredibly smooth and still standing by for scores.
I concur with that strategy, Joe, and that's some great insight there because that's the way that Griffin's going to be able to beat Filipe Toledo.
As we have Filipe looking, scores in for his last, a 7.53, almost matching Griffin's best. Remember, Griffin still has 1 score to drop, but he's gonna make a move with priority. Off the bottom, getting hung up on the lip when he was trying to project into the flats. And that'll hand priority back to Filipe. He was probably trying to just channel that 10-point ride that he had yesterday. Not his first 10 of his career. He had that 10 at Kira on his rookie debut when he made finals day. One more look. What happened here, Kaipo?
You know, this is a forced one. He's always quick to the accelerator, but that one he didn't get around. He wasn't square over his board, so he just had to throw that away. You can see again, just a little bit off and not able to stomp that landing. We'll look at it one more time in slow motion, and you can see off the tail of his board, a little bit on the heels and unable to stomp that. But back to Griffin Colapinto, I like the fact in a post-heat interview, he said, when I win this event. And that manifestation of success, I applaud. To actually look forward and to put that in your mind and say, when I win this event.
And it's such an interesting mental process. I'm always curious if these surfers can recover quickly physically or mentally, you know, and how exhausted they can be event to event and picking themselves back up to compete. Griffin starting to kind of get distracted underneath Filipe Toledo. Couple of scores to come in. The previous wave for Griffin that they really took their time entering was a 6.67, so he got his lead back. Toledo now needs a 6.82 with 4:15 on the clock, and looks like he wants it now. Setup work, already flying, big blast on the back end. Drills it again, third turn, just a quick whip to shut it down.
Wow. That's going to be one that we're going to have to digest. Now, remember, it was a similar wave, maybe a little bit bigger, that Filipe Toledo was able to get a 7.53 on. Again, the same really accelerated approach by Filipe Toledo, and 3 turns in quick succession. Beautiful surfing from up above. And a lot of control. Slow motion, you can really see all of the nuances of Filipe Toledo's backhand approach and how much of the fins he gets out of the water on those top turns and how quickly he's able to get back up there for the finish.
So impressive as we have the Brazilian Storm rooting on Filipe Toledo as everyone starts getting stressed out in the Red Bull athlete zone. Joao Chianca trying to channel a wave here for Toledo. He throws the pop, shove it, goes down.
Yeah.
As we see the last number still yet to drop in, 2:50 to go.
Yeah, so Filipe Toledo's gonna be trailing Griffin Colapinto right now. He needs a score. He's still gonna need a score, and the clock's against him, Joe.
The turns that he laid down on the wave previous before the pop, shove it, 5.9. Still needs a 6.82.
A little varial right there, and even if he was able to pull off that maneuver generally is not a high-scoring maneuver historically from the judges. So it is looking bright right now for Griffin Colapinto with the lead and priority.
That was huge. Toledo made an effort to turn it on that left. He was surfing with a lot of energy, a lot of power. Needed a 6.82, came in a 5.9. So big separation there to the requirement. He's one of the best at turning things around with or without priority, but in an ocean like this, it still seems pretty difficult. Minute 55, Griffin might be getting very close to his first ever championship tour win.
Oh, butterflies for the young surfer from San Clemente right now as he's tracking Filipe Toledo up and down this sandbar.
The hardest thing to do is to block Filipe Toledo because he doesn't need much to get a score. Kind of has like that Italo factor where it can be a closeout. Griffin will have to deal with that decision shortly.
Fans on the edge of the water right now, Joe, anticipating some type of comeback from Filipe Toledo. Clearly a fan favorite here in Portugal.
He feels right at home here, speaking the language, a former champ, so popular around the world. 10 CT event wins in his career. He's been in so many title showdowns.
Look at Griffin Colapinto looking at his watch over and over again, just hoping for that to speed up right now. He wants the hooter to blow.
There it goes again. He's starting to get the hair out of his face. He's trying to rush this clock. He's just got to take his time, get back into his meditation.
Really needs to compose himself at the moment, and Griffin Colapinto hoping that there's a wave doesn't break at all. He wants this ocean to go flat.
Just adding to the drama. It looks like a lake out there, and we've had so many insane waves. 11 waves for Toledo, 6 for Griffin. He was very selective, had his 7-6-7, and that game plan was so worthy. And of course, Kolohe Andino wants to be first on the scene, and it's already a big hug and embrace for a kid from San Clemente in his 3rd season on the championship tour. He does it for California, and he does it for San Clemente, the MEO Pro Portugal champ, presented by Rip Curl, Griffin Colapinto.
Oh man, this is the biggest moment in this young man's surf career right now, and he's gonna soak it in. He said, when I win the final, manifested it, Joe, and it has come through. Put it out of the universe, and Griffin Colapinto's our champ.
You talk about a road to the final that was just unbelievable from John Florence this morning, a guy who's won out here, to Kolohe, who is looking in form and always turns in great results here, to Kelly Slater as well. Unbelievable run for Griffin. Kolohe's ready to celebrate.
Kolohe's still kind of the boss, is saying, come in, Grom, get in here. We want to cheer you up the beach.
And that might have been the last bit of that swell. They've been sitting out there, it's still flat. Griffin's just taking it all in. All that hard work, all the amazing hype that was around him when he qualified as a rookie, and then going through injuries for a few years as well. Filipe, such an amazing athlete, great sport as well. We talked about how dangerous he is in finals. He rarely loses once he gets this far, so what an accomplishment, and maybe Griffin's favorite ride of the whole event.
Goes for the headstand. You gotta love this kid. I mean, he's such a likable character, and he's just, at times, well, most of the times, he's just brutally honest about everything that's going through his head. I want to hear what's going through his head right now.
Kolohe's just yelling at him. He's changing to shorts so he can just get wet and throw down the first embrace to the champ. These two have spent so much time together. Kolohe started calling him up and taking him surfing, giving him advice, backing him, a total mentor and best friend for Griff on tour.
Yeah, I remember in the quarterfinal, Kolohe Andino, hey, if you're going to beat me, you better go on to win this thing.
I think he had the same words to him a few times in their career, even at the US Open. As soon as Kolohe goes down, he's the first person to cheer him up the beach. Tommy Whitaker with a big high five. He calls his coach one of his best friends in the world.
Oh, man. Just soak this in, Griff. What a moment.
Are you kidding me?
2022 is all about firsts for a lot of these athletes.
Go slow.
Baron Mamiya winning his first at Sunset. Griffin taking his first win of his career at stop number 3 here in Peniche. I know one man's going crazy right now, his younger brother Crosby, his father Mitch, his mom Camille. Congratulations, you guys. Griffin did it.
Oh, yeah. It's a group effort, right? When you think about Griffin Colapinto and his ascent to this moment right now. What a great surfing family and a well-deserved victory for this young man from San Clemente. And he's just going to soak it all in.
Pretty amazing how long it's been since Bobby Martinez won in Tahiti in 2009. It's 2022. Talk about a drought.
The reckless boys.
Hey, maybe there's a sign California's on the comeback.
They certainly are. And that's obviously on the men's side. Lakey Peterson, Courtney Conlog have gotten a lot of wins. Sage Erickson. Griffin enjoying that chair up the beach. In the final, they were both Brazil versus California.
I'm sure Griffin wouldn't mind if they just did a lap around the beach, take it for a couple of miles on this train right now, soak in this moment.
What a special Monday morning. Things happening so quickly. And looking at the numbers too, it was very, very close. Let's send it to Strider on the beach.
Griffin Colapinto coming up with the chair. How'd it feel? The first win, first final. You are our MEO Pro Portugal, presented by Rip Curl champion. Griff being Griff.
I don't even know. It's so weird. You just get in this mode where it's like you're not even thinking about anything, and you know, even winning, it doesn't even feel like the way I thought it would feel. You know, I'm still in this like kind of calm state where, you know, it hasn't even set in, but it's so cool to just, I was really trying to take in seeing Chloe and Jacob and Cam, Seth, Connor, Tommy, Scotty, all these guys coming up to me after the final. Just, I don't know, all my good friends, and really trying to take it in.
Sounds like the beach breaks of California paid off for you out here.
Definitely. I was training in this exact ways before I came, so it's funny that we ended up doing the final, and I can't believe the people I had to go through to get to this win. It's as good as it gets.
It makes you feel like you can believe.
Oh yeah, full belief, and just everything I've been doing paid off, and it was just crazy. The first two events I didn't make it past round 3, and it was really hard with that mid-year cut coming in. It was a hard one mentally, but you know, I just believed in the process and the unknown. You gotta trust the unknown always, and just love that. You know, no matter what, you're always gonna be learning, and that's my favorite part about this sport, is that it just grows you as a person. So yeah, even win or lose, you're just growing.
Getting deep, Griff. MEO Pro Portugal champion, you guys. Let's hear it for Griffin Colapinto. We'll be right back right here for the Corona Post Show.